is the Wrestlebread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW. This is the Wrestlebread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 122 of the Wrestlebread Podcast. If the intro sounds a little weird, my bad. I clicked a little too early. But I hope everyone's doing good out here. You know, I need another vacation. You know how it is when, you know, you go on vacation and then you come back and you got to work and it's like, you know, you got work that you have to also complete because you were out of work. And so now it's like, yeah, that's what's going on this week for me, because I was on vacation last week and now this week it's pretty much like catch up. But I hope everyone out here is doing well. This is one of the most exciting weeks in wrestling. You know, this feels not exactly similar to WrestleMania week, but it's there, you know. We have Rampage that's happening. We have SummerSlam on Saturday, and we have NXT Takeover on Sunday. So a very exciting weekend for us wrestling fans. And like I always say, whether you like AEW or WWE, it's a good weekend for us. So let's just sit back and enjoy all that is happening. And I'm going to talk about all that is happening this week. I'm going to give predictions for SummerSlam and for NXT 36 as well. I didn't get a chance to really check out NXT TV this week, but I did see some of Raw. I saw AEW Dynamite this week as well. I actually checked out AEW Dark and AEW Elevation this week. A lot of wrestling in there. I'm very interested because last week they were both shows, Rampage and Dynamite was both in Pittsburgh. And so when I saw Dynamite, Dark and Elevation, it was kind of hard to tell like when they shot what match when. Because I do know that for Rampage, 2 hours before Rampage actually comes on is a bunch of dark matches. And I think for Dynamite, it's an hour of dark matches. So I'm just very interested to see, you know, how much wrestling they're squeezing in. Because it's not like with these two shows that there's any type of like break. There's no promos. There's no like recaps or anything like that. It's just like match after match after match after match. So, and I guess, you know, if you're pulling out like, you know, 10 minutes or less matches, you can definitely pull out a lot of dark matches, within a 2-hour period. Let's get into some interesting rumors, going on this week. First of all, the biggest thing I read has to do with WWE. And there's been a lot of speculation with WWE if, you know, WWE is going to get sold. Why are they releasing all these people, especially people who can potentially make the company a lot of money? Why are we letting these people go? And some people started to speculate that maybe they are thinking about selling the company. And so WWE President Nick Khan was actually on a podcast. It's called Recode Media. And he was asked about the possibility of a sale. And he said, and I quote, "Well, look, we're open for business on anything and everything. And even some of the business plans that we have announced recently, I think are different or unique to what the company has traditionally done. So we're open for business. If somebody calls, we'll listen. But we're not active. We're not out in the marketplace trying to change that structure. So basically, they're looking to sell the company. Not actively, but if somebody was to approach them and say, hey, I would like to purchase WWE, they would actually take a listen. So, it's like, who's going to buy WWE? What fan has in their heart, to pull the money together to try to save WWE? I know I used to think that maybe it would go to Vince's kids, but we know that Shane McMahon doesn't really do much with WWE besides when he comes and when he came back to wrestle. But now he's gone. I think he has. I know he has his own company. I forgot what type of company it is, but I know he's back to doing his own thing. Stephanie McMahon is very much involved as well. She is the chief brand officer of WWE. We all know Triple H is involved. Linda is not involved. She's actually in politics. So I'm just curious as to, why not give the company to Stephanie. But I think, like I had said last week, the reason why is because the influencers, quote unquote, the people who have opinions with Vince McMahon, the yes people and all that other stuff. If Vince was to pass the company on to Triple H, a lot of those people will feel as though their job will be in jeopardy. Because we all heard the stories of the people who, are the little influencers, quote unquote, who are, in Vince's ear and saying yes and making suggestions and stuff like that. If someone comes in with actual knowledge of the wrestling business, they're more likely not going to listen to these people. Like, no, why would I book the match this way? Why would I have this person win? That makes no sense. So if they were to sell the company to someone, because they're promoting WWE as an entertainment company. I've read that plenty of times, that they're promoting it as an entertainment company, not a wrestling company. That's why they're calling the wrestlers superstars and, this, that, and the third. It's an entertainment company. So that's why if they're trying to sell it that way, then they're trying to sell it. They're possibly could be selling it to someone who is not originally from a wrestling background. I just hope this isn't going to turn into another Dixie Carter situation. I would hate to see the company go down the drain because of, someone in charge who doesn't know what they're doing. And I know what I just said, but at least we have moments. At least we have the little moments of positivity when it comes to WWE. I know that, sometimes it's cool to put down WWE and things like that. But it does have its moments of shine. It does have, wrestlers that we all care about, the wrestlers who do get their time. And we have fun with it. You can't deny the 30, 40 plus years that WWE has had an impact in the wrestling community. And I would hate for all that to be wiped away because someone really doesn't know what they're doing. But that's very interesting, though, that we kind of get a bit of a confirmation that the company is possibly for sale. And on more news as far as with WWE, we all know that Adam Cole's contract is going to be up after this weekend. It's a lot of speculation if he's going to stay with WWE, if he's going to go to AEW. And there was the rumor that he met with Vince McMahon on SmackDown last week, and that apparently he was offered $1 million. They're so invested into him that they brought writers from SmackDown and Raw to give him pitches of what could be done with him on the main roster and stuff like that. And with that I say, I hope he makes a decision that works best for him. One thing I know for sure is that he loves his Twitch channel. I'm actually part of I'm actually I watch his Twitch channel. His community is very supportive. They are, I mean, like he says, they're amazing, and he is such a very nice person when he streams. And he has said this before, and he has said it on a recent stream, and of course that's what gets blown up because of the speculation of his contract. And he said, and I quote, "I love y'all so much. I wish so bad that I could just stream for a few more hours, but it makes me so happy to even be able to stream for a little bit." And that's why when I say no matter what, there is a 0 chance that this channel is ever going away. I will never give this up. I love it with my whole entire heart. And I love you guys. And that's how important you are to me. There's a lot going on lately. I just want to make sure everyone knows that this is going nowhere. This is absolutely going nowhere. And he has a lot of passion for video games, and he loves the community that he built. We also see him on the Up Up Down Down channel as well, when he plays Uno every Wednesday with Tyler Breeze, Xavier Woods, and Cesaro. They've been doing that during the whole pandemic, and they have gotten so much closer because of it. And it's very entertaining to watch them as well. I also check out some things on Up Up Down Down as well. And so it's possible that he may be able to put in, if he was to re-sign with WWE, to put into the contract that he keeps the Twitch channel. Maybe WWE takes a portion of the proceeds, or he could simply just walk away. We will not know until either Tuesday or Wednesday, basically. So either, because NXT is actually going to be taping a number of shows, so it could be possible, if he is staying with NXT and not going up to the main roster or something like that, that he would be part of the tapings. But we will either see him on Tuesday, or we may see him on Wednesday or Friday. Who knows? But I really wish Adam Cole all the luck with whatever he chooses. And I hope whatever he chooses works out for him, whether he does stay with WWE or if he decides to go to AEW. Because AEW can simply sign him and not really use him properly. That could possibly happen. Like, a lot of people ride high on AEW. I sometimes ride high on AEW, but things could still happen. Someone could get booked and overlooked very quickly. Speaking of AEW, so now there is the possibility of Ruby Riott, who is now known as Ruby Soho, could be going over to AEW. She posted a teaser video on Twitter. I believe it was last week, and it was a very high. It was the production of this video is very high and kind of similar to what we see with Buddy Murphy and Malachi Black. This time, there's no prison involved, so kudos to her for that one. But we see her walking down a train platform. She has a ticket in her hand from Orlando to New York. We see her start to run, and we see that she misses the train. She missed the Amtrak train on its way to New York Penn Station. And so, I mean, it's possible that she may be on her way to the AEW Dynamite show that is going on in New York, but that's all the way in September 22nd. So I don't think that, I don't know, it could be she's waiting out that whole time, but however, she did have the 90-day no-compete clause, so I would assume that she would want to get back into the ring as soon as she can. So it's very possible we'll have to see when she releases the next portion of this teaser video that maybe she then finds her way to Chicago or something, decides to book another train. Knowing Amtrak, they're going to charge her $500. She may have to take multiple trains to get to wherever it is that she's going. It could take her to September 22nd to get to New York, now that I think about it with Amtrak. But I am excited to see where she's going to go. I am a fan of Ruby Soho. I was a fan of her when she was in the Riot Squad. I love her look. I loved her look in WWE. I felt as though it was so different than what we see all the time, especially on the main roster. Unfortunately, she wasn't booked properly, and so I'm hoping that wherever she ends up, if it's AEW or another company, that she at least gets booked properly. She could be very helpful as far as with the women's division with AEW, because they definitely need help. I noticed that when I was watching Dark and Elevation, that there's talent there. However, there's no veteran there to kind of like hone in the skills of some of these female wrestlers. They have Julia Hart there, who's only 19 years old. Very green, but, she has the potential there, and I give her kudos for, putting herself out there, especially to end up on YouTube in front of hundreds of thousands of people watching her online. And there's other matches that you'll see. I love Penelope Ford. She had wrestled Thunder Rosa, and it wasn't the smoothest of matches. But I just feel like they definitely need a veteran there to kind of like, help out the women who aren't used to being, either in front of a large crowd or having to deal with, wrestling in front of a camera and things like that. Them having Thunder Rosa definitely helps out a lot. Who else they got? I forgot who else is the veteran that I was talking about. Because I was having a discussion about this yesterday, and I forgot the other veteran that they have. It'll come to me later. But I think if they were to have Ruby Riott, the fact that she has wrestled in front of a large crowd and had to deal with TV and stuff like that, that she'll be able to definitely help out the women's locker room. And especially since they're allegedly they're going to feature women a little bit more. We may get one more match on Rampage, who knows. But I'm hoping that they definitely work on the women's division. Definitely give them some love besides love on YouTube. So the last piece of news, this has to do with the match between Kenny Omega and Andrade. Apparently, according to Wrestling Observer Radio, allegedly the finish of the match was changed multiple times leading up to it. It was originally booked for Andrade to win the match and win the AAA title, but it was changed to Kenny Omega. When Kenny Omega got to the arena, he tried to change it back to Andrade winning, especially with the fact that Ric Flair was showing up. But AAA had changed it, or it was either AAA or AEW. One of the companies decided to change it because they want him to wrestle another match as champion. On top of that, they didn't want him to lose this title so soon after losing the Impact title to Christian, which, booking wise, that kind of makes sense. You don't want a champion who's been so strong for such a long time to have back-to-back big losses like that. He already lost 2 titles to Christian. You don't want him to lose a 3rd title to Andrade. But I really hope that we get another match between him and Andrade, or whoever they choose for him to lose the AAA title to. But can we talk? That was pretty awesome for Ric Flair to show up as well. So, getting into Raw, this is the go-home show for SummerSlam. We had Arcade Bro, who officially reunited. They will be going against AJ Styles and Omos for the tag team titles this Sunday as well. We had the face-off between Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. I will talk about, my thoughts of that segment a little bit later as well. We had Damian Priest versus The Miz once again. We had Alexa Bliss and Doudrop going against each other. We saw Lily Didal had I think Lily Didal like winked at her or something like that. Didal did something and she started freaking out about it. We also had Karrion Kross going against Jeff Hardy. This time Karrion Kross won via submission with Jeff Hardy. It was a pretty short match. Jeff Hardy actually tapped. I was about to say that he passed out, but he actually tapped for this one. So with that, I'm going to go into the SummerSlam predictions from here, and then I'll go into NXT and then AEW. So SummerSlam coming this Saturday. I keep thinking it's Sunday, but it's Saturday. There's going to be 10 matches. Now, I don't know if there's any matches coming on the pre-show or anything like that. But I'm going to go through and give my predictions. So first off, we have Eva Marie versus Alexa Bliss. This might be a pre-show match. Who knows? I might go... I don't know. This match, I feel like could end in like a DQ or something like that. I feel... it's always a match that has those weird finishes. And I think this match is going to be it. We might get the introduction to Lily, whether that is in human form or whatever type of special effects they're going to try to pull here. SummerSlam is in Las Vegas, so I'm hoping the crowd is going to be red hot for this. I'm going to go with Eva Marie on this one. I think Eva Marie is going to win somehow with the help of Doudrop. And then we're going to continue on this feud with Alexa Bliss and the doll. This could go in a... Who knows? This could go in a different way. This could definitely end up with Alexa Bliss winning with the help of Lily. But I don't know. The feud doesn't really do much for me. Really, I don't have a connection with Eva Marie. Like, I don't really find a reason to care. Like, Eva Marie, she looks good and everything like that, but I don't have a reason to really care about it. Doudrop has kind of been there. Like, it doesn't really seem like they're going to be doing anything with her as far as, her overcoming the odds or, getting one up on Eva Marie or anything like that. And then Alexa Bliss with this whole special effects, and now we got the doll and stuff like that. It's just really not connecting. I don't know how they're going to get themselves out of this if they're looking for Alexa Bliss to go back to the way that she was. She's definitely having fun with this. I know that she is a big horror movie fan. So I know she's having a lot of fun with this. More likely we're going to get a "We Want Wyatt" chant out of this one, but it is what it is. But I think this is one of the matches that we may get that weird finish. But I'm officially going to go with Eva Marie on this one. So next up we have Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. We have Veer and Shanky are barred from ringside. For this one, I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. I feel like this feud could have been a heck of a lot more, a lot more serious, I guess I should say. Like, once they brought in the sword and then the motorcycle, and then you had Drew McIntyre pointing the sword at, I think it's Shanky, and like he was going to cut him or something. Well, yeah, he tried to swing it, and I think he did try to swing it. And it's just like, if it isn't a sword match, what are we doing? Like, all right, if we're not pulling Game of Thrones type of fighting. What are we doing here? Why are we introducing the sword? But I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre on this one. But I wish that the booking of this feud between these two would have been a lot better. So next up, we have Seth Rollins versus Edge. I think this may be like this. The card is really good, but I think this match might be the match of the night. Because Seth Rollins knows how to work in the ring, and then Edge is Edge. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins on this one. I feel as though, and I feel like Seth Rollins should win here, to kind of like continue to troll Edge a little bit more, even though this match could easily be the end of the feud. But if they're looking for Seth Rollins to eventually go against Roman Reigns for the title, which I think is the direction we may be going in, I feel as though he definitely needs this win here. And, for him to go off and go against Edge, for him to go off against Roman Reigns and then eventually win the title. Sorry about that. But I'm going to go with Seth Rollins here, but I think this is going to be a pretty good match between these two. So now we're getting into the championship matches. The first one is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos versus Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio. And I'm sure this is going to be probably the biggest crowd that Dominik wrestled in front of. They did a video on YouTube, a backstage video, when the Mysterios teamed up with Edge, and this was Dominik's first match in front of a crowd. I still remember fondly the match between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero for the custody of little Dominik. And I saw on YouTube that they reacted to it, and I'm gonna eventually check that out. I'm gonna go with the Usos in this one. As great as Rey Mysterio is, Dominik is still slightly green. He's still got some learning to do, and I feel like we're gonna continue the dominance of the tribal clan. This could easily, though, if they were to, I'm still waiting for Uso versus Uso. Like, I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, just waiting for the Uso versus Uso feud, something we haven't gotten yet. Maybe they don't want to do it at all, but I think with them and Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns kind of like manipulating the two of them to say, hey, we're all family, but you're my right hand man, this, that, and the third. I think it's a way for it to happen, but I'm gonna go with them to retain here. So on the other side, for the Raw Tag Team Championship match, we have AJ Styles and Omos versus RK Bro. So I'm going to go with RK Bro on this one. I think with them having this, with Riddle, kind of like infatuated with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton is kind of like, take a step back and take a breath. I think with them winning the titles, and the way that Raw works, I think it will definitely work as far as the storyline between these two. I don't see them really breaking up right now. I think that, booking wise, it's a lot more easier for them to win the title, and then there's a lot more of backstage segments between them two, with Riddle wanting the matching shirts and stuff like that, because that's what happens when you're in a tag team. You want the matching outfits and things like that. And I think if they were to win the title, that Riddle will definitely take it from there, as far as them having matching gear and new theme song or something like that. Like, I could definitely see it happen. As far as AJ Styles and Omos, I think Omos has gotten a lot better in the ring from when he first started, definitely. But I don't know. I'm ready to see them two go their separate ways and have a singles run. I kind of miss AJ Styles having those, wild type of feuds when he was going against John Cena and Shinsuke Nakamura and stuff like that. I really miss the feuds that he has. And since then he's been with Omos as far as like a tag team and stuff like that, it kind of feels like they really don't know how to book AJ Styles, if that makes sense. But I think, I think it's time for them to go their separate ways. So after that, for the United States Championship, we have Sheamus going against Damian Priest. I'm going to go with Damian Priest to win here. I think, he's going to win his first title on the main roster. It's very possible that The Miz and John Morrison gets involved with this somehow. But I think if they do, it would work in Damian Priest's favor. Maybe they'll try to get a distraction and Damian Priest ends up taking advantage of it and pinning Sheamus that way. And then we could probably have Sheamus going against The Miz or something like that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Damian Priest here to win the title. The IC title isn't booked here yet, but with we still got SmackDown coming, so it could be very possible that we could have it's Shinsuke Nakamura who's the IC title. So they could definitely have him going against Baron Corbin or something like that. Who knows? For the title. And that could be actually the pre-show match. Who knows? So now for the women, we have the Triple Threat Raw Women's Championship match. Nikki A.S.H versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I'm sorry. I didn't check as of this morning, but Nikki A.S.H was champion for at least 3 weeks and she doesn't have any gear. She doesn't have any shirts in the WWE shop. And then the shirts that they do have are the old Nikki Cross shirts. And so it's just, I find that very weird that she doesn't have shirts, because it's like, you're the champion right now. Like, I would think that, for, if they were, pulling this off for her to be champ because of, how she's marketable to the kids and stuff like that, that she would at least have, she still don't have Nikki A.S.H shirts. She only has 4 items under her. 2 of them is the Nikki Cross, the he shirts. And then 2 is a plaque from when she won Money in the Bank and then when she cashed it in. And that's pre-order. So, who knows? But I would think that, she would at least have a t-shirt or something. Like, try to get a penny off of this woman or something. She's your champion. And, for that, I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair to win the title. Charlotte Flair is in this mode where she really don't give a damn. Like, there was word that she was in Mexico to be alongside Andrade for his championship match. Of course, she wasn't on TV or anything, but she went with him to Mexico. And she's flipping off the crowd and stuff like that. She's just living her best life right now. And she's pretty much telling WWE, look, you can go ahead and get rid of me. Go ahead and get rid of me. Because truthfully, Charlotte Flair, there's a lot of people who don't like her, but she's a very good heel. And if you really want someone to be a babyface, she's the perfect person to put them up against. Because the heat off of her instantly makes who she going against babyface. Except for when it's Rhea Ripley, because for some reason they booked her as a heel too. And they really didn't do much to like get the casual fans to really care about her. And they made her a little different than what she was in NXT. Eventually, we're either going to start calling her Rhea or we're just going to start calling her Ripley. We know what happens when people go up to, WWE. You tend to lose your name after a while. But I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair here. I think it's possible that Nikki A.S.H will be the person who will actually get pinned. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen here. I think it's Charlotte Flair. And so on the other side, for the SmackDown Women's Championship match, if this is actually happening, there is the rumor that allegedly they were taken off the card quietly due to unforeseen circumstances, but I'm like reading somewhere that today that they're cleared or something and are actually being put back on. So I don't know if this is COVID related or injury related or, WWE just doing WWE things, but it seems like we're going to have this match, which I think would be another match of the night if it's if they just let the women do their thing. But this is Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship match. For this one, I'm going to go with Sasha Banks. I think I feel like this feud between these women can definitely continue to go back and forth if it's booked properly. If this feud is booked properly, this feud can go on to Royal Rumble. Not to the point where it's like oversaturated, but just give little bits here and there back and forth. If you get the right writer to, work this feud, it can still be as entertaining once we get to the Royal Rumble. But like I said, this has to be booked properly in order for that to happen. Because fans nowadays, they get very tired of a feud a lot quicker than they did back in the day. But like I said, they can't oversaturate this feud. We don't need them to like constantly face each other every single pay-per-view between now and Royal Rumble. But just do it in some type of capacity. Who knows? But I'm going to go with Sasha Banks to win here. I think that, Sasha Banks get the title. And if we're going to continue this feud, have Bianca Belair, kind of be down a bit because, the whole thing with Bianca Belair is that she's an underdog and that, she, had, she was a bit self-conscious and things like that, and she worked hard to believe in herself. And I think with Sasha Banks is a great heel as well. Sasha Banks, working her and stuff like that to kind of make her feel down, very similar to kind of what Bayley was doing. But Sasha Banks, she'll do it her own way. And so we can have Bianca Belair kind of work back sort of in the ranks to get back between her and Sasha Banks. I mean, there's enough. I've seen it done before. I can't think off the top of my head what feud it was done with before. But for someone to get the heel to get the title, the babyface kind of get back into the line and then kind of have to like fight their way to get back to wrestling the heel champion again while still maintaining the fact that there is a feud between these two. Somebody hire me. But I think that's how it should go. But I'm going to go with Sasha Banks to win here. She's back, so obviously The Mandalorian season 3 hopefully will be coming out on time this December. I cannot wait. So now we get into the main championship matches. First of all, for the WWE Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. Now, this whole feud, soon as the rumor came out that Goldberg may be coming back, and the moment that Goldberg comes out and then says, "I'm next," I said, I really hope Bobby Lashley destroys Goldberg. Like, I really hope he does. I hope that, we know this isn't going to be a 20-minute banger. We know that Goldberg, kind of huffs and puffs after a couple of minutes. It's not going to be a technical match or anything like that. But I was like, Bobby Lashley needs to destroy Goldberg and send him packing until 2022 because he only wrestles 2 matches a year apparently. He already wrestled a match this year, and so this is the second match, so we won't see him until probably the Royal Rumble. And then this past Monday we had the Sun and the football team, and Goldberg, he did the speech of how this is all for the Sun and everything like that. Now look, I'm a parent. I totally get it. But in the words of Brock Lesnar, I don't give a shit about your kid. Like, come on, man. Like, I get that, he does it for him and he wants him to see his dad, win and stuff like that. But it's like, dude, no. Let Bobby Lashley live. Let Bobby Lashley live, please. Like, let him retain this title. And I have that sinking feeling that Goldberg could be winning the title, and then he has his kid come into the ring so he can do what he did years ago and hold his arm up and stuff like that with his kid, have his kid holding up the title and stuff like that. He did speak on, I think it was the Bump, earlier today or yesterday, something like that, how he feels like he has another match in him. There's another person that he wants to go against. Who knows who that is? But it's like, come on, man. Like, we don't need this. I think I don't know if this is the title he hasn't won yet or if it's the Universal. I know one of the 2 titles he hasn't won yet. So it's like, no, thank you. Like, I really hope Bobby Lashley wins and retains the title. But I have that sinking feeling that Goldberg may be winning the title. And then it's like, well, where do you go from here? Okay, Goldberg wins the title. Then what? He pops up on Raw for a couple of times, and then he doesn't defend it again until the Royal Rumble or something. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. What are we doing here? And then we get to the last match for the Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns versus John Cena. And I was all for, Roman Reigns to, dominate John Cena. And, John Cena doesn't kick out at 2 this time. And then comes SmackDown, where John Cena completely destroys the tribal chief on the mic. Basically told him that he is the biggest failure. If he loses, he would be the biggest failure, and that he was asked to be brought back to humble him and stuff like that, and how all he needs is just 3 seconds. He don't even have to have a good match. He said, yeah, you gonna kick my ass, but I just need 3 seconds. That's it. 1, 2, 3. And then he went and pretty much quoted CM Punk and everything like that. And because he mentioned, I'll hop over the barricade and I might even blow you a kiss, which is a reference to CM Punk. And it's just like, come on, guys. I'm officially going with Roman Reigns to retain, but I think what may happen here, I have that feeling that Cena may win the title. And then just like with Goldberg, where do we go from here? I do know that they're having this like Summer of Cena. They're doing this promo with John Cena that he's only going to show up at like 10 or 12 cities or something like that. And so I guess he'll have the title and then eventually drop it. And then, if you haven't already, I was recently on an episode of Clark Street Wrestling podcast. It's on, check it out on YouTube. And I did a SummerSlam prediction show there. And a interesting point had came up, something I didn't even think about. And I think it's something that may definitely happen. If John Cena was to win the title, John Cena only has to win the title for the 17th reign. It's very more likely this is what's going to happen. He's going to win the 17th time. He's going to beat Ric Flair's record, so he can be the most decorated wrestler in WWE history. Because You know, something that I realized, Ric Flair's 16 titles all did not come from WWE. If John Cena wins number 17, all his titles will come from WWE. And WWE will love to say, "Hey, this is our own homegrown, most decorated wrestler in history is homegrown. He came from WWE. He got all his titles with WWE." Now, all he has to do is win the title. He doesn't have to retain the title. And something that, I thought, that had came up, John Cena could win the title. Roman Reigns can get very upset, beat up John Cena to a pulp. Out comes Big E to cash in the title. Because the thing is, if John Cena was to win the title, well, like I said, where do we go from here? Is John Cena going to keep coming back? Is he going to wrestle at next month's pay-per-view to drop the title? Is he going to drop the title the next SmackDown? I don't think so. John Cena is Hollywood Cena now. He's going to be off to film the next movie, to promote the next movie or TV show that he's in. And so I think if John Cena was to win the title, he's going to win the title just to, win the title, and so we can mark it in history. He only has to win the title. He doesn't have to retain it. And so he'll be the perfect transition transition champion, I should say, for Big E to cash in on and win the title. He doesn't cash in on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns doesn't get cashed on. But John Cena also has the record of most times cashed in. He is tied with Charlotte for 3. And if he wins if he becomes the most decorated wrestler in history with 17 title wins, he may have the record for most times cashed in officially by having Big E cash in on him. So I think that's something that could definitely happen. I really, I think that's something that could really happen, because you get the briefcase off of John Cena, and then from there you will have the feud between Roman Reigns and Big E. Or it could be Brock Lesnar comes back, beats the hell out of John Cena, and we get the feud between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and then Paul Heyman has to choose which man he's going to be with. It's going to be like The Bachelorette all over again. But yeah, I think that I have officially for Roman Reigns to retain, but I can definitely see John Cena winning and getting cashed on to happen as well. So on to NXT. I didn't really check out. I really didn't check out NXT the Go Home show, so I don't really have like the final answers of what's going to happen, but I will get my predictions. I'm very excited for Sunday. NXT Takeover is, usually very good show. Very rarely have we had a bad NXT Takeover. They may have been, average matches or something, but overall NXT is normally pretty good. So to go through the matches, it's all championship matches except for one, and I'll start off with that one. It is the 2 out of 3 falls match between Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. The first match will be traditional wrestling. The second match will be the street fight, and then the third match, if necessary, will be in a steel cage. And I think we're going to get to the steel cage part. How about that one? Now, this is going to be pretty interesting, but I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to win this one because Adam Cole is going to get written off. Now, whether he is written off of WWE completely, or if he does resign, they're going to bring him up to the main roster, and he'll end up at either Raw or SmackDown. And so I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to win here, and then Adam Cole will ride off to the sunset, whether it's to the main roster or out of the company completely. I think this is going to be a good match between these two. Their last match was pretty good as well. But I think this is their third fight on TakeOver, if I saw it correctly. And I think it's going to be pretty good. I think this match will start off. I think this will be the opening match. Unless they do decide to just straight up make it the main event, because it's going to be, street fight and a cage match. And that way, you don't have to wait for them to break down the cage or whatever. Or no, they don't have to break down the cage. What I'm thinking, this isn't the 90s. They can just, raise up the cage or whatever. But I'm going to go with Kyle O'Reilly on this one. I think this is at the Capitol Wrestling Center, which is a shame because they won't have the screaming fans. It would have been very good if this was in Vegas like it was SummerSlam, but, it is what it is. After that, we have for the $1 Million Championship, LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes, who will have Ted DiBiase in his corner. Now, if Grimes loses, then Ted DiBiase also becomes LA Knight's butler as well. I'm officially going to go with, I would like Cameron Grimes to win. I really do. I think LA Knight is going to win this because I feel like they're going to have a lot more fun with the vignettes with Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase. If there was a stipulation of LA Knight being the butler of Cameron Grimes, but in this one, the stipulation is if Cameron Grimes wins, he's free from LA Knight. So, I don't know. I have officially for LA Knight to win, but I would like for Cameron Grimes to win to win the title. But it could go either way. I'm fine with this feud between these two. I find the vignettes pretty good. Cameron Grimes getting over like a mofo with the crowd. Next up for the NXT United Championship, we have Walter versus Ilja Dragunov. So I'm going to go with Walter in this one. I know Walter has had the title for a crazy long time. And it's like, who is going to take him down? It's very possible that Dragunov will take the title off of him, but I really don't see it happening because and I'm very biased right now because Walter is awesome. I cannot wait to see his entrance. I really wish that this was in front of more fans so we can hear them chanting the music. But I understand, it is what it is. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, and we have the Delta variant going around, and hopefully we don't get shut down again, but it's very possible that we may get shut down again. But I'm going to go with Walter on this one. So next up for the NXT Women's Championship, we have Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai. I'm going to go with Raquel to retain here. But I think it'll be really cool if Dakota Kai was to be able to pull this off. If she was to keep the title, if she was to win the title, it could definitely set up a lot of different feuds. And I think it would definitely help out her character. I mean, it's very possible. I actually may change my vote right here. I am going to change my vote right here. Excuse me. Let's start this over. I'm going to go with Dakota Kai on this one. I think Dakota Kai is going to win. She may introduce another, bodyguard, quote unquote. It could be somebody coming out to help her out. It could be somebody who don't like Raquel Gonzalez as well and comes out to help as well. I think that with Dakota Kai winning the title, it could definitely open up a lot of different feuds here. And it'll kind of spice up the women's division a little bit. It's been kind of, I don't want to say mellow, but, it's not as exciting that it normally is in the women's division. The women's NXT division is one of the best women's division in wrestling right now. And, period, I should say. And, with Asuka and all them gone, especially with Io not there either, the star power, what's the word I'm thinking of? The oomph, I guess, like the star power, the it factor, I should say, in the women's division is kind of like not there right now. I would love for Dakota Kai to win the title and then start a feud. Well, no, we can't do that. When Candice LeRae is back after giving birth, to have that feud between her and Dakota Kai. But yeah, the star power of the women's division isn't there anymore. And I like Raquel Gonzalez. I think she's doing very good. She, for the amount of time that she started in wrestling, she is doing very well. But it's just something missing. Um, it's just something missing from the women's division right now. Um, and then finally for the NXT Championship, we have Karrion Kross with Scarlett versus Samoa Joe. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Joe to win this one here. Um, I think that I think it's time. First of all, we have seen Samoa Joe. We've seen Samoa Joe. We have seen Karrion Kross on the main roster, and um, I think that it's time for Karrion Kross to give up the title and go up to the main roster. Now I don't know what's gonna happen with Scarlett. He has been on the main roster without her, so I think it may be a situation like it was with Enzo, Cass, and Carmella, where Karrion Kross goes up to the main roster officially first, and then Carmella comes up. I mean, not Carmella, and then Scarlett comes up separately, and not exactly teaming up with him. But I do think that Samoa Joe is going to be the one to take the title off of Karrion Kross here. If Karrion Kross retains, I'm going to be very surprised here, because he's already being established on the main roster. Don't really see why we're going to have him retain the title and keep him in NXT. But overall, I think NXT Takeover is going to be pretty good. So now going into AEW, AEW Dynamite was pretty good. We started off at first. It was Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley coming out into the arena, and then they were attacked by 2.0, who then 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, who then had called out Sting and Darby Allin and wanted to wrestle them right away. Um, Sting and Darby Allin comes out to wrestle them, and and Darby Allin comes out, and then Sting, first of all, looked very good. I'm still freaking shocked at how well he moves in the ring, and he's not like gas. I need everyone to watch that match of Sting wrestling, and then watch Goldberg this weekend. It's like night and day. Um it's like night and day between those two. Um as far as like being gassed, like his face paint was still on. He looked perfectly fine. I do have a slight problem with him no selling that table spot, because it's just like, come on, dude. However, I just love the way that Sting is being booked right now. Because even then, when they won the match, you see Sting kind of like pointing over at Darby Allin to kind of give him his props. But I think that I'm very interested to see where they go with Sting and Darby Allin here. Uh, I mean, it's very possible of of the road that this may take as far as with Darby Allin, because he has called someone out, apparently. The spot though where Darby Allin got suplexed onto the skateboard was crazy. And then of course, they power bomb Sting through a table, and then he just gets up and does a double scorpion. He does a double scorpion death drop, and then he did a double scorpion death lock to get the win. And then we got Sammy Guevara versus Shawn Spears. Before that, because then there was like a major announcement from Sammy Guevara, and it was that he was proposing to his girlfriend, which I thought was very sweet. He had the hometown crowd behind him. If you didn't check out the promo that Shawn Spears cut though, right after showing that promo, oh my goodness, such a good heel promo. He mentioned how there are slim pickings in Houston, and he mentioned that, oh man, I forgot. I think he mentioned like something about how Sammy Guevara thinks he can make it, like he could climb his way to the top or something like that. And then he mentioned, then he told they mentioned to his fiance, like, if I can, I'll show you a real man and I'll let you be on top or something along those lines. But I was like, whoa, where's this guy been? Where has this guy been? But this was a pretty good match between these two. Sammy Guevara, he's good in the ring, first of all. And I love the fact that, his interactions with Chris Jericho has led to his popularity. But this was a pretty good match between these two. And Sammy Guevara did a 630 senton. There was this crazy spot where he did a cutter from the top rope as well. A lot of back and forth between these two, and the crowd was just like so into it. But in the end, Guevara had defeated Spears. Dan Lambert is back cutting a promo. He cut a pretty good promo. His delivery of the promo was a lot better than a lot of people. And he also had, along with him, Junior Dos Santos as backup. So I don't know if we're going to, get something involved with him, because he's bringing these UFC former champions into the ring here. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Lance Archer then comes out to try to take out Dan Lambert like he did before. Instead, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page comes out and starts to attack him. So I don't know where we're going here. I really don't. Bit of a weird booking because, he, just won the title off of Jon Moxley. And I thought he still had the title. Come to find out, he doesn't have the title. Apparently, he lost it in New Japan. And it wasn't. I don't think anything was said about it. Maybe I missed it. But I don't know what we're doing here with Lance Archer. Then after that, we had the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express, which was truthfully more comedy than anything. I don't know if anybody caught this, but Luchasaurus went to, I think he was about to choke slam one of the Young Bucks, and Brandon Cutler gets onto the apron and starts waving a Flair back and forth. Now, I popped for that. I that made me laugh so hard because that was a Jurassic Park reference from the first Jurassic Park when Jeff Goldblum was waving the Flair at the T-Rex, and then the T-Rex started following him. I immediately caught that reference because I do like Jurassic Park. I'm about to say Jurassic Express. I mean Jurassic Park. But yeah, this was a pretty good match between these two. Knew that the Young Bucks would retain, but they did slightly kept I mean, it gave just a little bit of hope that Jungle Express may win, but I knew that the Young Bucks would retain. Um let's see. And then I mentioned Thunder Rosa and Penelope Ford had a match together, and it really wasn't smooth. With these two, Thunder Rosa, like I said, it's just like, I don't know if it's just like not enough practice, or if there's like, because there's different wrestling techniques between these women, but a lot of matches between the women in AEW, they are really not that smooth at all. Um and then we had the match between Chris Jericho and MJF. Now, I didn't catch the ending of this, only saw like the beginning and the middle of it. And this was the fifth labor where there's no Judas, so Chris Jericho didn't have the Judas entrance, and he couldn't use the Judas effect. And so, from that, Chris Jericho comes out to no music. He had the pyro, and then the crowd just starts singing his damn theme, which I thought was completely awesome. And it's not like, what I find amazing about it is that it's not like Shinsuke Nakamura, where you're just like humming the melody. Like, it's words to it. And apparently Houston was completely prepared for it. There was someone out there who had a sign with the lyrics written on it, so I guess the crowd can follow along. But the crowd sat there and sang Chris Jericho in, which I thought was I thought that was so cool. And you see Chris Jericho was just so happy about it. Um, but yeah, I saw that MJF defeated Chris Jericho. Um, but I didn't see how he won it. Um, so now we get to what is happening on Friday. It's like, can we just say that this is going to happen? And I know there's like two schools about it, that, there are people who are like, it's not happening, like, you guys are like overhyping this and stuff like that. And then, I mean, there's people who don't care about it, and there's people who do care about it. I I just find the whole thing kind of exciting about it. I just find everything slightly exciting. My cat says hi, everyone. Um so first of all, Tony Khan tweeted out, and this was 4 hours ago of this recording. I'm betting, and I quote, "I'm betting that excitement from the most anticipated announcement in AEW history at AEW Rampage, The First Dance, will build up through All Out on pay-per-view. We'll make new fans, we'll welcome dominant wrestling households worldwide back into the fold. A new era in AEW begins tomorrow." Now, I do admit sometimes he overhypes things. Like, he really overhyped Christian's signing, which is like, you know, I get, I get, you know, I get that, who Christian is, stuff like that, but I felt as though he was like really overhyped. And it could be very possible that this could be a complete swerve. If we do not hear Cult of Personality on Friday, I think Tony Khan will need some type of security to leave that building. There's too many freaking, hints, and there's so many detectives on Twitter that's like pointing out things like how, Kenny Omega has been wearing shirts with the letter CM on it. One week it was Cookie Monster. This week it was Chick Magnet, that he was wearing. Darby Allin saying he's willing to go against the best in the world. Jon Moxley then cut a promo, and he mentioned, I thought this was a very I thought this was a pretty good promo too. He mentioned how now everyone wants to jump ship to AEW when he was the one who, held the title and basically was there, at AEW when there was doubt, when, people didn't think that AEW was going to really be taken seriously, when it wasn't much. And so now people think it's very easy, that it's easy to just, have a wrestling career in AEW. And he calls out Danny Garcia. And he mentioned how he's going to bring hell to them. He mentioned Kenny Omega. He mentioned Hangman Page, who he said he will drink under the table. And he challenged Danny Garcia to a match in the main event in Chicago. So I'm like, and that brought out a little thought, because as much as I would like to hear the Cult of Personality at 10 o'clock and 59 seconds, because they got to do the intro and all that stuff, it's very likely that this will happen the end of the night. And if that's what's going to happen, then what's going to happen is, CM Punk is going to come out at the end of Rampage. And he's either going to come out to cut a promo, or he's going to come out to start a feud. And if he is going to come out to start a feud, I think it could be very possible that he may come out and start a feud with Jon Moxley. I mean, I think it would make sense. I don't think it would be Darby Allin straight out, because what's going to happen is it's going to be pretty challenging, because somebody has to lose. And in AEW, wins and losses actually count for once. So I think that, whoever CM Punk is going to go against is someone who can actually take a loss and not let it, affect their momentum. Because Darby Allin's bit on a streak. Darby Allin is on a bit of a streak, so I don't think that he is going to be going against CM Punk right out. I think that's a feud that's going to come later. However, I think we can definitely do CM Punk versus Jon Moxley. I think that's something that could work out. And I think that it can definitely lead to Jon Moxley taking a loss here. Now, like I said, we all know what is going to happen. You cannot, first of all, book a show in Chicago about, 2 weeks before you're going to be in Chicago 3 times in a week. Call it the first dance. And then you have CM Punk tweeting and Instagram and doing little things, like how he has the pin on he was wearing a pin when he was doing commentary, and it had the number 20 on it, which is tomorrow's date. He posted on Instagram the numbers 5, 11, and 21, which coincides apparently with the Summers of Punk, the Summer of Punk in Ring of Honor, the Summer of Punk in WWE, and allegedly the Summer of Punk in AEW. Like I said, if CM Punk has to show up, like, there's too many. They pretty much announced it without announcing it, which I think is like really crazy. I don't know. I just, it's a very exciting time. And CM Punk had mentioned, because he was like I say, he was doing commentary, and the person he was doing commentary mentioned, him showing up on Friday in AEW for wrestling, and then CM Punk mentioned how someone is all elite. So it's just like, it's happening, yo. Like, it's happening, and it's happening on the 20th. Because they're going to set up with his first feud at All Out, which I think would be against Jon Moxley. And then we also have possibly Daniel Bryan coming, and then all of whoever is coming, because WWE is just letting people go by the chunks. And allegedly there's going to be more releases because of this change that they're doing with NXT, which I feel bad for Triple H. Because Triple H built NXT from the ground up, literally from the ground up. It became what it was today with his vision and how he treated people, especially the photos with him pointing to whoever is then champ or whoever just got signed. And pretty much like 90% of the roster are people who came from NXT. It's a shame. It really is. But I really hope that whatever becomes of NXT isn't going to be like so drastic that we won't be able to really recognize that, you know, that at least the foundation would be there. I'm hoping that the rumor of them allegedly not having smaller people or people over a certain age or something like that, I hope that's just not true. Because there are a lot of rumors out there that aren't true. But that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to Julian and Rob Bass from Wrestling Court Podcast on AlternativeMinds.com. Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show. Chris from We Talk Next Podcast. Nando and Larry from Half K Podcast. Devin and Hafiz from Clark Street Wrestling. Like I said, be sure to check out their YouTube channel. I was just recently on their last episode for the SmackDown predictions. Also, shout out to Straight Talk Wrestling Podcast, Circle of Debate, the Hard Camera Podcast, and Top Rope Wrestling Talk. Coming up next week, it will be a review of SummerSlam and a review of NXT TakeOver, and also, more likely, a review of the debut of CM Punk and how Twitter done exploded because of it. Be sure to hop on Twitter and follow me at JDC137. That's JAYDEEC137. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at Wrestlebread. Click the link in that bio, and you will get the link to the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, which I'm going to do a couple. I keep saying it. I'm going to go through with it. I'm going to actually film some videos, hopefully this weekend, that will be released during some time. But be on the lookout for it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can keep up to date with it. Leave a review wherever you're listening to the podcast. Let me know your thoughts. Who you think is going to be winning the title? Is Big E going to cash in this Sunday? Who do you think CM Punk is going to be going against? And your thoughts on an exciting weekend in wrestling. One of the most exciting weekends this year in wrestling. And until next time, guys,